Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
This is where we take your source material, could be articles, notes, research, anything really, and we dig in to pull out the key insights.
Yeah, the goal is basically to give you that shortcut to understanding what's important and often find some, well, surprising stuff along the way.
Exactly. And this particular deep dive, it's custom made based on material you provided. We're looking at clips from a YouTube video.
That's right. It's called How to Develop Unstoppable Confidence and a Magnetic Aura. And it features a conversation with someone named Audelia Grace Guggenheim.
Quite a title. So our mission here is to really get into the observations about Audelia shared in that chat.
And specifically to identify the principles she talked about, the things that seem to fuel that confidence and self-acceptance they describe.
Yeah, and I think you should be prepared because some of her viewpoints are, well, very practical, but maybe not what you'd typically expect.
Definitely a bit counterintuitive in places.
So jumping right in, one of the first things mentioned about Audelia's confidence was how she could just, walk up and talk to absolutely anyone. The interviewer actually mentioned losing her for a second on a train platform in Cairn.
Right, I remember that part.
And then finding her just chatting away with total strangers, asking for local tips.
And the key phrase there was something like, there is no fear, there is no questioning. It wasn't presented as something she had to psych herself up for.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It seemed completely natural.
Yeah, Audelia's take on it, pretty straightforward. She just sees it as, well, a normal way to interact, maybe start a conversation, no big deal.
Right, which kind of flows into the next observation, doesn't it? Her being totally comfortable asking people for photos.
Oh, yeah. And not just friends. We're talking dates, strangers in a club, anyone.
And the details were great, like asking for retakes if it wasn't good enough, using the full flash.
Yeah, just completely uninhibited about getting the shot she wants.
It's like she operates in her own bubble of comfort, almost.
And when they asked her, isn't that annoying to people? Her reasoning was interesting.
What was it again?
She genuinely doesn't frame it as being annoying. She sees asking, excuse me, can you take a picture, as just another potential interaction starter.
An opener, basically.
Yeah, if you're looking to meet people. And she's quick to offer to take one for them too, so it's reciprocal.
Okay, but here's the really crucial part, I think. What allows her to do that without hesitation?
This is where it gets really insightful. It's her internal focus.
Right. So when asked why she wasn't nervous, it wasn't about managing the other person's reaction.
No, not at all. It was about her own feeling. She literally asks herself, how am I going to feel good at the end of the day?
Instead of worrying about, oh, what will they think? Or am I bothering them?
Exactly. It's a total reorientation. The priority shifts from external validation or avoiding judgment.
To actively managing her own internal state, her own happiness.
Precisely. And that seems to be the foundation for daring to interact in these ways.
Okay, so moving from those outward actions, let's talk about self-love and her self-image. There was that observation about her phone.
Ah, yes. The phone background and the WhatsApp background.
Both pictures of herself, which, the interviewer pointed out, might make some people think.
Yeah, the immediate thought could be, okay, is that narcissistic? A bit conceited.
But Audelia's explanation just flips that completely.
It really does. She seemed genuinely surprised that it was even considered unusual. To her, it was obvious.
So how does she explain it?
She sees those photos, like the one from Madrid she used for WhatsApp, as simple reminders. Reminders of happy times, travel,
Okay.
and her words, a way to love and admire yourself.
So not vanity, but appreciation.
Exactly, like cherishing your own good experiences, and yes, liking how you look in those moments, putting that positive memory in your daily view. It's a really powerful reframing, I think.
It really is. Now, okay, the big one. Not caring what anyone thinks. The video shows Audelia as very unapologetically herself, but she adds an important bit of nuance, right?
Yes. And this makes it feel much more real. She admits she does still care sometimes what people say or think.
It's not like she's reached some superhuman state of indifference.
Not at all. And she has a technique for when she does feel that sting of external opinion.
Which is?
She just tells herself it's just their opinion.
Simple but effective, maybe.
Seems to be for her.
Oh.
And the core reason she gives for prioritizing her own feelings over these opinions is very direct.
What's the logic?
She said she has to do what makes her happy because, well, she's the only person who's going to be with herself for her entire life.
Huh. That's quite a thought.
Yeah, other people.
Yeah.
They're just coming and passing by. in her words.
Okay, and that perspective seems to tie directly into how she deals with rejection, which the source also touched on.
It does. Her internal monologue, when someone rejects her or doesn't like her way of being, comes from that same place.
Yeah.
She asks herself, do I want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me?
And the answer is?
No.
Simple as that.
So it completely sidesteps self-blame. Totally. It's not what's wrong with me. It's this isn't a match. She sees rejection not as a verdict on her worth, but as, well, incompatibility.
And she has that phrase, right? Rejection means...
It's either this or something better. It's redirection, not a dead end.
And she actively avoids asking, what did I do wrong? Or getting stuck in loops about it.
Right. The source says she just accepts it's just in it, like it's just part of the process and moves on. That refusal to beat herself up based on external feedback feels key to her resilience.
Okay, so shifting from the personal.
Yeah.
How does this apply to bigger societal pressures? Like feeling you're on the right timeline?
Yeah, the interviewer brought up that common feeling of, falling behind maybe with university or career or taking gap years when others aren't.
We've all felt that, I think.
Absolutely. And according to Audelia's view in the video, that feeling often comes from looking at what society does, comparing yourself to the majority path.
So what's her way of dealing with that pressure?
She zooms out. She thinks long term. She asks, what will I think about this difference in a few years from now?
Perspective.
Exactly. She used the example of seeing someone older in a university class. Right now, it might feel like a big gap, but over a whole lifetime, a few years is very little.
That definitely shrinks the perceived importance of hitting milestones at a specific time.
For sure. And building on that idea of living life on her own terms, she actually outlined her components for a meaningful life, a personal framework.
Okay, she listed 4 things, right, that contribute to her well-being and seem connected to this confidence.
4 key areas.
First was just enjoying life, having fun.
Yeah, her advice was super direct. Just do it. Don't get bogged down in the logistics, the cost, the difficulty. If it sounds fun, pursue the enjoyment.
Simple enough. What was second?
Meaningful connections. And the emphasis was on meaningful. Being with positive people.
Not just anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
She stressed learning to cut off toxic relationships and trusting your gut feeling about people who bring you down. Protecting your energy.
Makes sense. Third.
Trying new things.
Yeah.
Being open. Not getting fixated on one path or one type of person. She even mentioned trying unlikely friendships because you just never know.
Being possibilities open.
Exactly. And the 4th point was about daring to do things. Taking risks.
Okay.
She acknowledged sometimes it doesn't work out. Oh no, I shouldn't have done it. But other times?
It leads to something amazing.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so cool. Who would have thought I would do it? That willingness to risk the oh no for the chance of the oh my God.
That really captures an adventurous spirit, doesn't it? Enjoyment, connection, new things, daring. It paints a picture of a life built actively, not passively.
Definitely. But, being yourself, living by these principles, especially when it goes against the norm.
Yeah.
It's not always easy. The video addresses that fear.
Right. Audelia herself says being yourself sounds very easy, but it's not.
And the main reason, fear of not being accepted, fear of losing friends, especially in environments like school where you can't just easily pick and choose your circle. She called it not being able to puzzle connections.
That's a good way to put it. So what's her solution then?
It's pragmatic. She figures it's ultimately way better to actively look for and be with people who accepts me for who I am, people who are more like-minded.
Than to waste energy pretending.
Exactly. She calls pretending a waste of time. Her advice is basically seek out your people straight away.
Yeah.
Don't settle for pretending.
Okay. And that relates to another big challenge today. Comparison. The source brought up social media, right?
Yes, explicitly. Instagram, the whole perfect body pressure, how easily things are manipulated online.
So what's Audelia's insight for dealing with that comparison trap?
The core idea is remembering that what you see online, and often even in person, isn't the full picture. People don't always look like that. And crucially, remembering that everyone has their flaws. Everyone.
She used an example, didn't she?
Yeah, Justin Bieber talking openly about mental health struggles to show that even people who seem to have it all, fame, success, whatever, they have significant challenges too.
So remembering that everyone has problems helps put your own struggles in perspective.
Exactly. It provides proportions, as you put it. It normalizes your own challenges instead of making you feel uniquely flawed compared to these curated images. It highlights that shared human struggle.
So it seems like a lot of this confidence and self-direction she embodies, it isn't really about being perfect or never feeling fear.
Not at all. It seems to stem more from like a deep self-acceptance, a conscious choice to prioritize her own well-being, her own happiness.
And a really practical, almost strategic way of handling opinions, pressures, and just life's challenges.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the source material really gives us some concrete takeaways from Audelia's perspective.
Definitely.
Things like the surprising upside of just daring to interact.
Reframing self-image like those photos, not as narcissism, but as cherishing good memories.
Making that conscious choice to put your happiness first, even when you do still care a bit about opinions.
Seeing rejection as redirection, not failure.
Choosing your own timeline over society's.
And actively finding meaning through experiences and connections.
And these aren't just, vague ideas. They're actual approaches discussed in the video, things you could genuinely think about applying.
Absolutely. Tangible stuff.
So here's a final thought for you to consider, sparked by something Audelia said. She mentioned being surprised that putting pictures of herself on her phone wasn't obvious to others, that this simple act felt unusual to them.
Right.
So what might happen if you tried experimenting with just one small thing from this deep dive? Something that feels maybe a tiny bit daring, but also natural and positive for you, even if it seems unconventional to others.
What could you learn just by trying it and seeing what happens?
Worth thinking about.
Definitely. Until our next deep dive.